Hello and welcome to Catholic Life. I'm your host, John Buckrees. And today my show is quite different than any shows I've ever done before. I have a couple of gentlemen here, Thomas Rossi and his father, Stephen Rossi, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
He's a civil engineer. He came up with an idea that I think is worthwhile for him to talk about. So before we talk about that, though, let's take 30 seconds out for a thank you message. When we come back, pay attention, folks. This is going to be a great show. This program was brought to you through the general support of Catholic Diocese of Arlington, established in 1974, serving over 400,000 Catholics in 21 counties in Virginia. It is a home to 67 parishes and 44 Catholic schools. His Excellency, the Most Reverend Bishop Paul S. Laverty, has served the diocese since 1999, opened 6 new parishes, 3 new schools, and 3 new missions. The diocese is the fastest growing in the country, with a 40% growth rate in the past decade. To learn more, visit their web, www.arlingtondiocese.org. Hello, folks. If you just tuned in, you're watching Catholic Life, and I'm your host, John Buckrees. And as my guest over here, Stephen Rossi. How do you do? Welcome
Hi,
to
John.
my show.
Thank
and
you.
your son, Thomas. Shake hands,
Yes.
Thomas. Thank you very much for coming on. You know, Stephen Rossi is a civil engineer, and as I said before the break, he came up with an idea, and I think it's a great idea. I'm going to kind of turn the show over to him. Steve, tell us about your idea that you had.
Thank you,
and
John.
how it got started.
Thank you. It's great to be here. It started with, in our parish, our pastor writes his own thoughts in the bulletin every week. And he wrote something talking about holy matrimony. And he says, you know, you don't need permission to use that term. You use it with a capital H and a capital M for holy matrimony. It means a lot. Holy means something special. And matrimony comes from the Latin word mater, which means mother. And so it's a process of making a woman into into a mother by having babies.
Right.
So we thought, hey, this is we were inspired actually to come up with the idea of the T-shirts that we're wearing, that my oldest children actually designed. They're both college students over at George Mason University.
And they designed these T-shirts.
They designed these T-shirts. I came up with an initial design. I used some standard fonts that you'd normally use on, documents. That's my history, which was really boring. And they took it and they made it into something that I think looks really special.
Well, I'm going to hold this up to the camera while you're talking a little more about that. I'm going to hold it up and I'm going to turn it around too and show the backside. There, that's the front, right? There we go.
Yes.
Celebrate life and holy matrimony. Holy matrimony. And there's a website on there too.
The website is down at the bottom, and I think it's
on the
probably
back also,
on
right?
the screen. Yes, it's on the back. So it's on both sides because when I was a kid, I don't know if you remember anything like this. These little cartoon characters of repent the end. These guys walking around. So I thought of hey, this is a great way to get actually double exposure of the message of celebrating life.
Celebrate life and holy matrimony.
So so we walk around and I do a lot of running, as you know. I've run the Marine Corps Marathon. This will actually be my 21st time coming up.
23 years running the Marine
21.
21?
Yeah, 21 times. I've already done it 20 times. So I run around the neighborhood, a lot of miles wearing this. So whether people are driving, heading in my direction or behind me, they're getting the message. So hopefully it'll be like something like the Choose Life plates, where maybe it'll inspire others to do the right thing, and encourage them.
It all started with, in fact, it was Father Pekorski in the St. Michael's Parish.
It was, yes, Father Pekorski, and he was so excited about these T-shirts that he's got a T-shirt.
He's got one.
He's got one, and so does Father Carr. So they both wanted one, and so we hand delivered them over there very happily.
Now, how they could get that? They can run the a website across the bottom of the screen and get that.
Yeah, anybody can go to our website. We have a Facebook page as well. I think you've got that information as well. We're very happy to accommodate you. We're basically selling them at cost, and we just want to get the word out. And we're actually hoping to accomplish getting the word to people who are at parishes, maybe who want to buy them in bulk.
Different parishes, yeah.
Different parishes around the county, and this could go viral if everything works well.
How about that, Thomas? Do you have any of your friends wear them? Some of them yet?
No.
A couple of them?
No.
Well, you ought to get your friends to wear some of them, huh? What grade are you in, by the way? May I ask?
Sixth grade.
Sixth grade?
So yeah, sixth.
What school do you go to?
I'm homeschooled.
Oh, you're homeschool. Oh my, you like your teacher?
Yeah.
That's a loaded question, folks.
Yes.
And what's your toughest subject?
Math.
Math. Well, you've been homeschooled. Do you have any brothers and sisters, by the way?
Yes.
Are they bigger, older than you? Or what?
And they're older.
Older. You make sure that they have those T-shirts now. You better mail them to them. They're off in college, right?
Well, no, they live at home, but because the college is very close to where we live.
What school do they go to?
Yeah, they go to George Mason.
George Mason. That's very good. But you were mentioning about the matrimony in the church and Father Pekorski and so forth.
Yeah.
Would you elaborate a little more on that?
Sure. Yeah. What he was really saying was those who have received the sacrament of holy matrimony should be, very happy of the fact that they've got that sacrament, and should go out and celebrate it, and go out and actually use that terminology without having to ask permission. And all I could think of is there must be a lot of people who probably do have the sacrament of holy matrimony, but haven't really embraced it as much as they could. I mean, people who don't take their vows seriously are probably just like anybody else who just gets married any other place. So I think we have something special there in the Catholic Church. That's the sacraments, which is really found no other place.
That's right.
So we turn this into a very positive statement, and the reactions I've gotten from people who have seen the shirts are extremely positive. I thought maybe I'd be getting some hostility. Has never happened one time. Some people, this one lady at church who happened to see one, she says, "Where did you get that shirt?" And I said, "Well, my family designed it." She says, she says, "I'm speechless." I said, "Well, would you like one?" "Yeah."
Yes.
So we got her, her size and delivered it to her right away, and she was extremely happy. She said she was absolutely floored by how beautiful it was. So really, really some spectacular reactions.
What I like about it, instead of saying celebrate marriage,
Yes.
would have been wrong, because there's a lot of marriages out there that I personally, and I'm going to say it, and I don't care how many people hear me about it, I feel it is not a marriage as holy matrimony is.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
there's nothing wrong with, and I hope I don't go off track on this, folks, but there's nothing wrong with a couple of men getting along together and going to basketball games, playing golf on a Saturday, and maybe they went off to the service together and served in a war together and whatever. And the same way with women. They grew up together and they like to go to the movies together and go to lunch and so forth. That's friendship. But when they go beyond that into the bedroom, then it becomes something of a problem, I feel. That's the way I am about it.
Yeah,
it's a sixth commandment. And instead of calling that a marriage, what they should do is be calling this a government contract or a state contract. I don't know if I'm off base on that or not, but this is holy matrimony that you're talking about on there, and that's a total different situation than just a marriage for convenience, so that you can get your visiting rights and retirement benefits and all the other government kind of stuff that goes involved.
Yes, and from what I understand, there haven't been a lot of people who are going after those certificates of marriage.
It should be just a certificate by a state approved, but not church approved.
Right, and the Catholic Church could never, accept anything like that anyway. So, we're a unique place, and I wanted it to be a very positive expression as well.
It is positive.
So it says,
Very positive.
celebrate life. Who wouldn't want to celebrate life? I mean, it's a matter of, first of all, we think of our own lives, and we want to celebrate our own birth, and we came from a mother and father. And that's how we came into existence, and all of us who are walking on the face of the earth came in that way. So it's the first thing, and then the next thing is: are you called to be married? Are you called into holy matrimony? And I know when I was a teenager, I wasn't sure if maybe God wanted me to be a priest or a brother. I was attracted to the Franciscans, and so I prayed, and I got actually a passage. From 1 Thessalonians 4, verses 1 through 12, that talks about this is God's will for you. It's like, okay, great, I'm listening. And it's to take a wife in a holy way, and not with lust like the heathens do.
Right.
And to make your own living with your own hands, because I was in engineering school, and all of my friends were in the seminary. So it was like, hey, what am I studying engineering for? You know. But later on, I realized, hey, this is for me. You know, I'm being called to holy matrimony, and it never. And when my first job was in Mississippi, and I worked for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers there, and there was one Catholic church and 60 Protestant churches in the county. And I grew up in Providence, Rhode Island, where everybody I knew was Catholic, and I couldn't imagine marrying anybody who wasn't Catholic. But there was an all-girls school there, a Baptist all-girls school. And I said, hey, you know what? There's absolutely nothing to do in this town. You know, it was in Columbus, Mississippi. 30,000 people there at the time. So I figured, let me go there. And maybe, you know, not that I was really looking to meet somebody, but if something turned out, it's okay. But it just wasn't in what I was looking for. And there was a pastor there who was visiting, and he says, you know, I prayed for the most wonderful woman, the most beautiful woman, perfect for me, and God blessed me. And there she is, and she stood up. She didn't look too bad. She was good. I didn't get a chance to talk to her. And I thought, hey, this is a great prayer. You know, I think I'll say this prayer too. I was like 22 years old. So I said the prayer too, and I said, you know, bring me the woman for me. So 14 years later, and this is an exercise in patience on my part, but of course God had a lot of patience to wait for me as well. And I met my wife, and I met her through the Catholic Young Adults Club, and surprisingly, I actually met her in my house. I didn't have to leave the house to meet my wife.
Really?
You've heard the story before, yeah. Because I had a party for the newcomers of the group, and so she came, and that was the beginning of our friendship. And eventually, you know, we got engaged about a year after that, married a year after that, and had our first child a year after that.
Now, what you're doing something? You're doing homeschooling too. Now, how did that come about? Because I'm sure some of the audience out there watching the show would like to think about it. In fact, I used to have some people on. I'm going to have them on again next spring. Homeschool group.
Okay,
you know,
good.
They've been on 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
But how did you come about doing it?
You know, we were in school. We were in the Catholic school. My children were my oldest two. And we found that in the 2nd grade, they were spending about 7 hours a day of schoolwork in school, and then about 3 or 4 hours a night of homework in the 2nd grade. So all of their waking hours were spent on school. So I thought, this is way too much. We took them out, and we went under the Seton home study.
The folks that have been on my show 3 times already. Yes.
Okay. So they were a Catholic accredited homeschooling program.
Oh, yes.
And we started in 3 hours, the one-on-one instruction for my oldest son, who's now 21. He was done, and his happiness levels soared in one day, and that was the beginning of our homeschool experience. And we have homeschooled my 21-year-old son and my 19-year-old daughter through high school.
Also, we're homeschooled.
Yes, and my son's now studying computer science at George Mason. My daughter in civil engineering. So, and you've been told that you'll be a lawyer.
He's in the 6th grade now. Yeah.
He's in the 6th grade now, but my daughter thinks he'd be a great lawyer.
You might make a good lawyer.
Because he has a great sense of reasoning. So
Well,
we'll see what happens.
I could get a bunch of things out of you, like money, if I wanted it.
Oh yeah, you can talk me into a lot of things that I wouldn't normally do.
Yeah, like stuff that you omit that you have not said before.
Yes,
but you
that's
actually
true.
did.
That's right.
say it.
Yeah, I got talked into saying things that I wouldn't have normally said. Right?
And what is this paperwork here you have here? What is some of this here?
Oh, you know, I printed off just the first page of our website, and you know, it was actually designed. That's kind of a bad copy of it, but I just wanted you to see what it looks like.
I see. Okay, I'm gonna turn this around here. Maybe the cameraman can pick that up.
Yeah, it might be.
They'll
able
never
to
be able to
grab it.
read it, but they'll be able to see some of that.
But it's far better for you to actually go to the website because.
It's on the website. That's what's on the website.
that is our website for the T-shirt, and my daughter and Thomas too, I think, designed the Facebook page. and that's what this is. So, so I think that was neat. I wouldn't have thought of making a Facebook page, but
Well, now, the Catholic Church over there at St. Michael's, they had a fall festival, and we had some over there, and I understand you have some small ones for children.
yes, I have all sizes: small, adult small through extra large, and child sizes small, medium, and large.
I like the color you picked out, bright
Yeah,
red.
we picked you know, the blood red color there for
Christ.
martyrdom and Christ. Yeah, so I thought that was a good thing. That was one of the reasons why we had the plus sign as well. We wanted to have the cross on there instead of just spelling
Instead
out
of
the
just-
word
yeah.
and. So I think there's a lot of messages here, and the website, of course, is at the bottom of the T-shirt itself. So a lot of people have gone into other people who've bought the shirts, and have asked them, hey, I need to have one myself, and they can order them right from the website.
I think that the plus sign is better than the equal sign because, like, it's like you're putting it together instead of like saying that it is both equal
Exactly.
when
yeah.
it's not equal.
Yeah, so I think I've heard where the plus is almost the opposite of an equal sign. So, you know, where you might see other T-shirts that say, like one of my niece said something about, she saw a shirt that says "love is love," and it's not. I mean, marriage. I remember my father saying to me one time that it's like a crucifixion, and it is. It's a calling, like the way Christ was crucified. It's a calling that we live through. And it's a beautiful way of life, but it's not all wonderful things either. It's some things you have to get over.
Did you wear that when you went on the marathon?
This year will be the first year because we just started this a few months ago. So this will be the first year I'm going to run it this year's marathon, which is their 40th anniversary.
Are you going to run a marathon someday?
No.
No way,
No.
Jose?
No.
Yeah, I didn't even start running till I was 28.
Well, I'm never going to run a marathon.
No,
No,
why should you? Yeah.
Well, all righty. And
do you
now,
think?
where do we go?
Well, we'd like everybody to come and visit the website, especially parishes. So ideally, if you can give me a call, we can work out something. We can get you in bulk. We can get it to you at cost or even below cost if necessary for the poor parishes that really want to buy these for their own.
Well, you know,
parishioners.
our Pope
To
was
meet it.
here recently, as
Yes.
we all know, and it's too bad that we couldn't have some people downtown with wearing those T-shirts down there. They could have seen it, but that's what he was preaching: celebrate life in holy matrimony.
Yes, yeah, I watched a lot of that on television, and it was extraordinary.
It was wonderful
Yes.
what he did. I don't think there's a man on the planet Earth that could have drawn the attention that our Pope Francis has drawn.
Yes, and I like that he had lunch with the homeless people down at St. Patrick's Church downtown, as opposed to having dinner or lunch with Nancy Pelosi and the other folks.
And all
that
the
president
executive,
wanted
yes.
him to have it with,
Yes.
So that was it's a wonderful thing. Would have been nice to go down there and wear the shirts, but we didn't have an opportunity to do that.
I didn't get a chance to get down either, but anyway, I have a little poem. I wonder if I could read it here.
Oh, sure.
Called "What Culture, What System."
That's a great book, by the way. I read that. These
Thank
are
you.
all your poems that you've.
This is a poem that I
compiled.
wrote many years ago, and we're talking about marriage and abortion and all the things, and people carrying guns, and I don't know. I wrote this poem in regards to that. It's called "What Culture and What System." What culture condones affairs among couples, married or not, to spark a life within the womb? And then what system makes it legal to destroy that life because they have no room? What culture breeds selfish rights for all to proclaim? What system suppresses the reality? It's their lifestyle they should change. What culture allows women to love women and man to love man? And what system calls it a marriage? when in reality it's a sinful scam. That's all it is, a scam. What culture allows victims no sympathy, no voice? And what system gives the guilty a chance to plead for a choice? What culture spends millions on legal fees? What system allows the guilty off on just technicalities? What culture cultivates violence and murder on the screen? And then what system says it's the right and it should be seen? What culture allows porn in the library halls? And then what system claims it's the right after all? What culture adores its sport heroes and pays them millions for them to handle a ball? And then what system allows others to live in poverty with no job at all? What have we allowed our culture to become? What has happened to our system? What have we done? Dare we speak the truth aloud, or do we fear to anger up the crowd? Will we let the wrongs be right just because we refuse to fight? Our apathetic silence is a sin, when we believe that we cannot win. Our culture has become a godless one. Our system is in evil decay and is now begun. And that's my poem, that I hope it never really happens as bad as it is in my book. Yes.
Beautiful.
And that's the reason the Pope came here, to help turn all that around.
Yes.
Yes, he did. Yes. By the way, what are some of the reactions you had? And by the way, before you say that, I'm sure I'm going to get some reaction on the poem that I just read.
It was a beautiful poem.
But
yes.
That's the way I feel.
Sure.
And I think that when the Pope was here, he was attacking all of those areas.
I think so too, and he did it in a very subtle way too, I think.
Oh, yes.
He did not, I think the people who wanted to, everybody thought that he said what they wanted him to say.
That's right.
That's the way he handled the situation.
But what are some of the reactions with your shirts now?
There was one time that I was wearing the shirt, and Thomas and I rode our bikes over to a nearby playground. And we were there for a while, and it's just amazing the people who you meet by having a shirt on like this. And there was a couple there with some of their children and their grandchildren as well, and they came from this little town that only had 300 people in it in South Carolina. So they were visiting their older children who actually live in Annandale. So one of the things, they just looked at the shirt, they said, hey, this is great. It turns out they were homeschooled as well. I forgot about that.
Isn't that a coincidence? They're from South Carolina,
yes.
And you're at a park.
Yeah.
And you begin to talk.
We begin to talk, and the shirt was the one that opened up the conversation. I was just sitting there watching Thomas play on the equipment. So they were all excited about it, and I think they knew what holy matrimony meant. I don't think they were Catholic. If they were a little town in South Carolina, probably not.
Maybe not. Maybe yes.
But they wrote down the information. They wanted my telephone number. The mother or grandmother, if you want to call her, she was probably about my age. She put my telephone number in her phone right away, my name and the address. So she's
going to order one. I'll bet you. I'll guarantee
they
it.
had like a 2-year-old, 1.5-year-old baby, toddler that the grandfather was holding.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to go back there. Maybe all I can think of is all 300 people are going to want those shirts done. So we'll see what happens. It was a great experience. That and one time my brother was in. He brought him for his whole family. And he was on your show one time for the homeschooling group as well.
That was Yeah,
that was last year or the year before, I think it was. And he was in a supermarket where he'd been going for many years over in Springfield, Virginia. And the people who know him there, the people who work there, were pointing to one another, saying, "Hey, look at that shirt over there. This is great." So it's really, one of the things I learned in high school was when I'm walking down the corridors and other people, in between classes, if I were to smile at the people coming in the opposite direction, they would smile back at me, which would make me want to smile even more.
that's right.
And I sort of see this shirt as being that smile.
It's a smile.
It's the
that's
way of reaching out to people without actually saying any words at all. And it gives them an opportunity to come over and talk to you. And I think that's really an opportunity to spread the faith and to bring joy to their lives. They get joy by wearing the shirt, bringing joy to others I get joy out of having them wear the shirt as well.
Well, it's a great idea. It's a great idea, really, truly.
Well, thank you.
I think we got to wrap it up. Would you like to say one more word or two before we wrap it up, or do I? I don't want to embarrass you now, Thomas.
The shirt's okay.
The shirt's
Shirts are
okay.
okay. Okay, sure enough. Take care. Thank you very much. I want to shake hands with you first, young man. And how about you? Thank you very
Thank
much
you,
for
John.
coming on,
Appreciate
Stephen.
it. My pleasure.
We've got to wrap it up. Folks, use that email address that runs across the bottom of the screen there and get involved in this. I think you'll find it a lot of fun and you'll get some interesting experiences out of it. You know, we're all living on this planet Earth and we have nowhere else to go until we pass away, and I hope we go to the right place. But while we're here on this earth, let us all of us, try to be a little more compassionate and charitable, loving and patient, peaceful, honest, faithful, kind, and respectful and joyful every day in our work and in our play. And on that note, so long and God bless. This program was brought to you through the general support of Catholic Diocese of Arlington, established in 1974, serving over 400,000 Catholics in 21 counties in Virginia. It is the home to 67 parishes and 44 Catholic schools. His Excellency, the Most Reverend Bishop Paul S. Laverty, has served the diocese since 1999, opened 6 new parishes, 3 new schools, and 3 new missions. The diocese is the fastest growing in the country, with a 40% growth rate in the past decade. To learn more, visit their web, www.arlingtondiocese.org.